Here's the orange one. I wouldn't say it's quite the hot rod that the white one is, but it's got some fancy parts. Look at them! Stock wheels on fucking mud terrains. You can tell this rig's not been driven in a hot minute. That'll be gone when I rip a fat burnout in it, pulling it into the garage. Look at this wicked concrete work. If anyone wants to sponsor a driveway for the channel, let me know. I would appreciate it. Back. Hopefully the brake on this thing works good.
It's got the e-brake on.
God, what a nice trailer.
I don't know if it's these tail lights or something. If you lock it, you have to lock it with the door. If you lock it with the key, one of the turn signals just stays on. So I have other tail lights that I was gonna swap them and see if that's the issue. Otherwise, we have electrical troubleshooting.
Well, here she is. I don't know much about the car. I know Graydon bought it for a decent price. I'm not sure exactly what his main concerns are with it, but my main concern with it is that right there. That Edelbrock supercharger. But louder than sin right now because it's got no exhaust on it. The interior is pretty torn up from him poking around with whatever. It's got a few electrical issues. Passenger window doesn't roll down. If you don't, if you use the key fob to lock the doors, the taillights stay on. If you use the door lock, they don't. I'm not sure how those things are at all related. I'm not a wiring guy. I'm a mechanical guy. So the previous owner said he had concern that there was engine problems. He said he heard a knock. I've only heard it run for a minute at a time. I haven't heard anything. I know Graydon said he has concerns about a rear differential issue. But I'm not sure. I don't know a whole lot about these cars. I normally work on older stuff, but I'm just gonna kind of tinker around with it and do a general inspection and fluid change on some stuff. I'm gonna take a look at the engine oil and see how that looks. I'm gonna pull the cover off the rear diff, see if there's any metallic flakes, inspect the ring and pinion and all that. As for the interior work and the electrical stuff, it's Graydon's car. I'll let him handle that when he's got the time. My main concern is make sure it's a reliable runner and driver. Quiet it down a little bit, because loud cars sound good when they sound good, and this one just sounds loud, which is never good. So we're gonna be doing a bit of solo work. Graydon has this wife and family that he hangs out with on occasion. Seems pretty stupid to me, but it leaves me here with this hot rod. I got it up on stands. I think a good place to start is I'm gonna check the catch can, see what kind of fluid's in there, see if it's full. This thing smokes pretty bad on a cold start, especially if you get on it a little bit. So I'm thinking maybe we got a full catch can. The oil looks okay. It's burnt, it's due for a change, but I didn't see any metal floating in it. I'm gonna drop it, a little bit later and we can inspect that and take a look at that. But so far, I'm thinking it might just be this catch can. Ooh. A lot of water that just shot out of there. With quite a bit of force. So that's always a good sign. We've got these hot rodded jugs that I made. Hoo, hoo, hoo. So with the amount that I spilled and the amount that just came out of there, there's definitely way more water than oil. And honestly, there's not much oil. So either that's what's been purging back to the intake, and there's just been water sitting in the bottom of it, or there's not that much oil in the catch can in the first place, which would be the best case scenario. I'm gonna see about cracking this open and taking a look inside. Not much better looking in there than what came out of it. So, looks like a lot more water than oil. There's definitely, you know, some oil. It's a boosted car. There's gonna be oil, but more leaking out. I reckon that's probably the big portion of our smoke on startup problem, is the previous owner probably never emptied the catch can. But you guys can see that line is full of fluid. So this line's completely clogged. No matter what position the petcock is in, it won't push air through it, it'll only push it back out the front. So I'm going to change the oil before I go ahead and start it. That way we got it running on fresh fluids. And I kind of want to inspect the oil a little bit first before I run it a ton. If there's a bunch of metal flake and everything, I know not to waste my time and to go buy fresh oil and throw all that in. And then we can get into another FRS motor swap. But hopefully, urethra. Hopefully we don't get into that. Hopefully it's a nice easy couple fixes. But I gotta figure out what size the drain plug is. And luckily, I don't gotta dive under the car because we still got the oil pan from the last motor. So it wasn't a 14, which everything else on the car seems to be. The one time I have another oil pan to check, to see the size. It's a different drain plug on that oil pan, apparently. And this one looks like a 14. Look at that. My first guess would have been right had I never checked. Isn't that just great? Eek! It's definitely some dark oil. Oh, left container is the first container, right is our second. Very dirty. Very dark. But looking at it, I see no metallic material. I'm gonna drain this one almost empty into my oil catch pan, and I'm going to pour the last little bit in this bowl. So in theory, any metallic stuff would have came out right at the start or right at the end. And our best chance is using the last bit of oil in this one, swishing a magnet around, seeing if we can find any little grit. But this oil looks good. It looks dirty, but it looks good. Pan, to be specific. This is the color we're looking for in this oil. As Chris Einberger would say, this is that famous Subaru color, boxer bearing bronze. This is the oil out of that last little bit of both. And really, it just looks dark. About time to bring you guys over. Just a little bit of condensation from the brake clean left in there. Clean the screen up decent. It's empty. Really all it needed was to be empty. So, but hey, it's got a little bean you can flick. Now something I noticed when I was peeling this oil filter off, barely use the wrench to loosen it. This oil cooler is completely loose, which I recall, now that I'm seeing it move, Graydon made a comment about the O-ring for this lower oil cooler being bad and causing a leak. And I see oil down in there, so we're gonna pull this off and inspect that O-ring, see if maybe it just needs to be cleaned up and tightened. Or maybe Graydon already has the part. I don't know, I'm kind of doing this without telling him I'm doing it. He might be upset with me for working on it without him. He might be like, thanks for wasting your time. Hopefully he's like, hey man, I appreciate it. Send me the video so I can see what the stuff all looked like. Even though I'm sure he would have liked to see it in person. But the sooner I get some of this stuff done, the sooner my garage is empty, which isn't my priority anyways. I told him he can bring the car over, it's no problem. It can sit over here as long as he wants. But right now it isn't in my garage. We're supposed to get 8 inches of snow tomorrow, and I got a real angry wife who loves to park in the garage when I got stuff with no oil in it, blown rod bearings and motors torn apart. So if I can do some preliminary stuff tonight and tomorrow morning, I should make both of those people pretty happy. Not sure how well it'll pick up on camera, but there's 2 O-rings in this machined Purin. Fancy brand name right there. Spacer for this oil cooler. There's 2 O-rings, and O-rings are supposed to protrude. I'm not sure how well it'll pick up on camera, but they are, if not completely flush, below this seated ring. So both those O-rings are bad, they need to be replaced. And then the gasket on the bottom of the oil cooler itself is pretty chewed up, if we're being honest. So I'm gonna get a hold of Graydon, see if he's got these O-rings. If not, hopefully it's something I can order in real quick. Otherwise I can throw it back together. It wasn't a crazy oil leak, so hopefully it seals up, or I can just go to the parts store and see if I can find some O-rings that fit. Well, I got it reinstalled, much tighter. Hopefully that takes care of our leak issue, and it's nice and easy to tell because right in there will fill up with oil just as soon as we get a fresh filter on it, which pretty late tonight. It's Saturday, a couple days after Christmas. Been working on his cars nonstop since then, but parts store is probably open. I don't want to drive there. So I didn't hear anything when I was playing with it. But I figure there's no harm in servicing a diff. Because clearly it hasn't been done in a while. And since it's a concern that Graydon has, we might as well do it. and see what the fluid looks like. Worst case, it's got fresh fluid. Best case, we find a problem and can fix it. Looks brand new. So upon pulling the drain pan out and actually looking in there, it isn't as new as it looked kind of coming out of the plug. So it's used, and it's pretty, not pretty dirty. I've definitely seen much worse, but it's used. Probably, you know, 20,000 or so miles on it, which makes me feel a lot better because that plug had almost no metal on it, and with the color of this stuff, it's clearly been used. So we're probably not going to have any diff issues. We're probably not going to have any motor issues other than those couple leaks. So maybe we're just hunting electrical gremlins and dealing with putting the interior back together. But I think for now we'll leave it at that. Car's in here. I'm done for the night. I'll pick up some fluids for it in the morning and we'll see what it runs. How it runs, not what it runs. Maybe take it to the track day. We should do a track day and blow this thing up. Let us know. We can see what one's faster, the white one or this one. I bet the white one will last a lot longer. This one, we don't know yet.